I get to scold you now. I'll bring the teacher. Good evening, everybody, and once again, thank you, everybody, for either coming or staying. Appreciate it very much. The format for this debate will be the same as it was for the oral debate, and ultimately, the two candidates are Mr. Dave Linkus and Mr. Jonathan Delagrave. Our moderator will be Ms. Judy Gavigan, who is a fantastic board member for us at RAMAC. So thank you, Judy, and our timekeeper for this will be Anna Clementi, who is the jack of all trades at RAMAC. So with that being said, we are ready to get started.
Good evening. And since I know you already selected who's going first and second, we will start with an introduction with Dave.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me okay?
No. Not really.
Push the rest. How about now? No. Okay. I probably will. How about now? Okay, here we go. I want to thank everybody for inviting me here, for everybody who's attending. This has just been a great experience for me throughout meeting great people. But I want to get into some of my things because most of you don't know me. There's only a few in the audience I can look back here that can say that you honestly know me. My name is David Charlie Lee. I will not get into the Charlie part, but it's been a lifelong thing for me. But some of my accomplishments, I teach hunter safety. I got 19 years with the state of Wisconsin, teaching hunter safety for the state of Wisconsin. Running into youth, over 5,000 youths I have successfully taught. With 4-H for over 9 years. I'm in the Swine Project. I'm on the Racine County A Board, which runs the county fair. I've been there for 2 years. I've also been in the town of Raymond for 8 years altogether over the last 12. And some of the accomplishments that we've had in the town of Raymond, we took a big hit back when we had over the expansion by 94. We lost 5 businesses that majorly occurred in the county. And since things have simmered down, we've brought 5 businesses back, such as Sunbelt Rental, Southport Heating and Cooling, Hitters, Comcast, and some of you are probably, you've heard of Hitters, Comcast, and Southport, but Sunbelt Rentals is a major rental company out of the South. They're about as big as Babco, if any of you are familiar with Babco rentals. Some of the other accomplishments that we've had in the town of Raymond is Highway K. Highway K was closed due to flooding. We came to Jim, we talked to Jim, Jim sent us to his engineers came back to him and said it's going to be $700,000. We made a call back to the engineers and said, hey, we can fix it for $4,500. They told us, the engineers said, no, it's got to be finished this way. For $4,500, we finished it because I went right to the DNR and got the permits to do it done.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Jonathan.
Well, first of all, thanks to RAMAC and the Journal Times, and for all of you who has been sitting in this auditorium as well as streaming online. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So thanks to all of you for coming and those of you that are watching and to RAMAC and the Journal Times. It's a great opportunity for Dave and I to get together and talk about issues related to the county. Why am I running? Because the county executive position is political as well as administrative, and I think I have the perfect match for that position. I was the village president of Caledonia, where I oversaw that going from a town to a village. And my experience with Racine County, I can say, has been quite, well, let's just say I've gotten more out of Racine County than Racine County has gotten out of me. I managed the largest Racine County Juvenile Detention Center, where when I walked into that building, we had almost 100 youth daily. We're down to 25. From there, I went to managing the public assistance programs for the county. We were able to consolidate with Kenosha to have one entity serving those programs. We're #1 in the state, not only timeliness of those benefits, but serving the most people. Third, I went to Ridgewood. When I walked in there, it was a 1-star facility rated by the Center of Medicaid and Medicare Services. It's now 5 out of 5. And finally, in Human Services, we had a 0 budget reserve, and now we're at $5 million. That's something that you can look at the budget and see for yourself. It's public record. So with all that experience, I think I'm a perfect match for the position of Racine County Executive, and I hope to be able to serve and ask for your vote on April 7th.
Thank you. Our first question is a citizen question, and it is, given the proximity of Oak Creek and Kenosha and the prolific development in those communities, why does Racine lag behind in attracting new employers and new jobs? And what will you as county executive do to address that serious concern? And we start first with John.
So great question, Judy. One of the things that happened in Racine County not too long ago is we had a company that wanted to expand by over 200 jobs. And they hired Racine and some Kenosha individuals for that position, for those positions, excuse me. Productivity in that company actually went down, and those jobs left the state. That can't happen. So priority one is a Racine County ready workforce to be able to attract development. Jobs and businesses are not going to come to Racine County unless we have a Racine County ready workforce. Number two, as county executive, I'd like to take a hard look at the rec fees, or by how much water is costing businesses, especially down by the I or a big box development. There are enormous fees, and I think that's what's hindering some of the development along the I. Three, work with counties, lead them, and get the necessary infrastructure out to the I. Infrastructure meaning water and sewer, and then transportation from the I going west and east to downtown Racine and communities like Waterford and Burlington. If we can accomplish those three things, we will see development come to Racine County.
Thank you. Dave?
It's a great question. As Jonathan said, I don't think you got to worry about Racine and Kenosha. There is a lot of money waiting to come this way in Illinois. Major businesses, major manufacturers to come up this way. I mean, from the medical to everything. I think what we got to do is loosen up our belts and allow a few more, because Kenosha and Milwaukee attract them. Why? Because they loosened up. They've allowed things to move forward more quickly. And that's what businesses want. They don't want to be jumping through hoop after hoop to go and get their business started. They want to be able to come through, get done. I think Hitters was a great thing, like we did in the town of Raymond. Hitters said right up to us, you've made it very easy for us to come. And that's what we got to look at. As Jonathan said, we have to have a work-ready workforce. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But we do have one of the lowest unemployment rates on this in the county. And we do have the people, it's to get it trained. Businesses will train their people. I mean, I've been working with businesses for all my life. And everyone says it takes 1 to 2 years to get employee trained.
Thank you. Our second question comes from the Journal-Times, and we'll start with Dave. Former County Executive Jim Landry increased roads funding during his tenure, with his final budget including $3.7 million for roads, up from $756,000 before he took office. How important would you view road work?
Road work is extremely important because we all spend a lot of money for a vehicle, and the last thing we want to do is tear it up. And it's nice to let body shops and the service stations and all that fix vehicles, but that's, yeah. And that you bring that up. Us in the town of Raymond, we ended up doing a little over 5 miles of road this last year because we went out and we did borrow $1 million to do it. But the reason why we borrowed $1 million is because the aggregate is getting ate up by one company. And I've got nothing against businesses buying up businesses, but the price of aggregate is going to go through the roof, so we made our move then. And out of the whole town of Raymond, I've never heard one complaint for doing it. And the roads are a major thing, especially if we're gonna have businesses, we gotta get the road. The businesses need a road to get their people there and get rid of their products and get the products in.
Jonathan?
Sure. Racine County in 2015 is going to spend about $4.2 million in roads. Now here's a startling fact for you. To rebuild a road, a county road in Racine County, it takes about $1 million per mile. Think about that, $1 million per mile. So we're going to fund the roads at existing levels in Racine County, if I'm county executive, in the next 4 years. And we're also going to strategically take a look at, as we do now, in terms of prioritizing what roads need to be fixed and repaired, whether it's Highway K going west in the county or Highway 20, whatever it may be. Roads are an integral part of business development. Businesses aren't going to come if roads aren't healthy in Racine County. So we're going to fund it at existing levels and strategically prioritize which of those roads need to be fixed first.
Thank you. The next question is a citizen question, and we'll start with Jonathan. What ideas do you have for promoting Racine County in the region, given the proximity to the lakefront and the Milwaukee and Chicago areas?
Sure. First of all, a big part of being the Racine County executive is being the #1 cheerleader for not only the county, but all the municipalities in Racine County. So whether it's Caledonia or Raymond, you have to be a cheerleader throughout the county and throughout Wisconsin. So #1, tout our success. One of the things that we need to do to improve in Racine County is, what we're not very good at is touting our success or bragging about the things that we do well. We want to make sure, I want to make sure, in partnership with the county board, that we're talking about our successes, promoting our successes. I think that's very important. 2 is that we look at our marina and the utilization of it. It's going up. Slip rentals are being full or being filled, and we need to capitalize on that. It's very important that utilizing our assets such as the lake, the marina, or Western Racine County Chocolate Fest, whatever it may be, is to promote the great successes we have here in Racine County.
Thank you. Dave?
Oh yeah, Jonathan took a long way to win. But you know, that great question. Our son got married. He had his reception right here at Festival Hall. And the people that came from out of town were so impressed with this lakefront that, I mean, I've never, how should I come down here? But you know what, you look at it and you never listen to other people when you hear different things like that. And they were so impressed with the lakefront. You look at it now with a different eye when you hear that. And we have to promote Racine. Like Jonathan said, Racine is not promoted. It's kind of like we're here, but it's kind of like we keep ourselves hidden. It's no different than you take Racine and the county, west of the eye. A lot of people from Racine here hit that piece of concrete over, 8 miles west of here, and it stops. I mean, we have one of the greatest county fairs in this state, along with just what we have on the lakefront. So Racine is just, I mean, the county is just unbelievable to me. I don't know how to really explain it in words how beautiful of a county we have, but we also have the greatest asset, which is right behind me, which is a wonderful lake. It's, well, now that everybody wants our water too.
Okay, thank you. The next question is a Journal Times question, and we'll start with Dave. Former county executive Ledwig increased or created new funding for several cultural type organizations in Racine County in the last county budget. Would you continue this funding in your first budget proposal?
Cultural budget, I think, is a very strong point. What Jim did there, I wouldn't argue with him a bit. Matter of fact, I don't think it was a thing I could argue with Jim on the budget, because Jim and I talked quite a bit. And you have to take care of your cultural budget. You have to take care of the whole county. It's just not any certain area. And to promote that type of cultural makes things move faster, makes everybody get involved. And you have to have everybody involved to have a successful town.
So quality of life is very critical in Racine County, and again, I think it's one of that and schools as a foundation that we have to build, again, to keep local talent here, to attract local talent. Too oftentimes we have children and kids who grow up in Racine and they leave and they don't come back, and I think part of that reason is some of our cultural things that we have in Racine County, and we need to continue to build that up. What I will say, though, is that as county executive, we were able to do some creative things to be able to increase some of that cultural funding, but not using county levy dollars, using other resources, whether it's youth aids from the state to fund programs for children, such as the museum or River Bend. So what I'm committing to you is, yes, we will do some cultural funding, but it's not going to be with county levy dollars, it's going to be with other revenue that comes in for the county.
Thank you. Our next question is a citizen question, and we'll start with Jonathan. With several businesses recently leaving Regency Mall, including multiple anchor stores, what, if any, role could the county play in helping to revitalize the mall?
Sure. Great question. So if I was listening in the debate before, I'd be taking notes, right? So I think one of the things is that one of the big boxes that left was kind of controlling what was happening in the mall. They have recently left. And now you have a real opportunity for new development to come in. So one of the things is that malls are changing, like with the two mayoral candidates said, but we have, with that big box leaving, now we have more control of what goes in the mall. So the county can help by working with the city to make a 21st century mall. So you see stores with entrances on the outside coming in rather than going into the mall and then going into stores. So again, working with developers, promoting Racine County, promoting the mall. I think the mall is very critical to the future of Racine County and how we change the mall and how we transform the mall. So the county does play a big part.
Dave?
Excellent question. Of course, like Jonathan said, you took two better notes, two better shape. But the mall is declining. There's no doubt there. The anchor stores are leaving. And it's just in our mall. The mall has to change. And whether it's with advice from the county or help from the county, that things have to change. People are not happy going to malls anymore. They would rather go, you go to Whitefish Bay, you look at Bayshore Mall, it's totally changed. It's all, you walk outside, you're more outside. You're with another mall out in Waukesha that is going to be another outside mall. Maybe they've got to look at something like some type of housing there. There's so many ideas to come up with, to change, to bring it up to the 21st century. Well, you know, internet shopping is getting to be a huge thing. Amazon did not build a building 8 miles south of here because internet shopping wasn't doing any good. So maybe the malls have to get the stores in the malls have to get more online and have customer pickup to bring the people in. The people come in. The first thing, as I always said, if I go shopping with my wife, she says, we're going to get this. And we go to the store, and we're getting this, this, and this. So that's what it might take to get the people to come back to the mall and start getting the malls to move back forward. But we do have to bring it up to the 21st century because you look around and what do you see? You see malls changing all the time.
Thank you. Next question, we will start with Dave. What do you view as the 3 biggest areas for improvement needed in county government?
The 3 biggest areas? Okay. The 3 biggest areas I believe that we got to improve is number 1 is roads. Number 2, we have to keep our tax levy low. And the roads have have to be done, which we talked about just a couple minutes ago. But we also have to attract business in this county. We have to bring in some, whether it's small entrepreneurs starting up and starting their own business, which may be a great thing down at the mall. We have to keep business here because business creates jobs. You might come in and say, no, I'm going to open up a business and run it completely myself, and nobody else is going to do it. It's not happening. You're going to burn yourself out. You're going to end up hiring people. You hire people, you start your tax base all over again. People working is the biggest thing to do.
Great, thanks. So for me, number one, and I keep repeating myself, but as a Racine County ready workforce, I talked about those jobs leaving the area and the state. We have to have a Racine County ready workforce. We have to make sure that students in 9th grade are receiving 3 credits before they go to 10th grade, because if they don't, they're likely to drop out of school. We have to build that foundation to attract local or keep local talent in Racine County. 3, kind of a personal passion of mine is we need to improve children's mental health in Racine County. Families do not know how to access mental health care for their children. We did an extensive survey. They don't know where to start. Even if they do get mental health services, they're not quality. We need to make sure that we have a solid children's mental health services. And then finally, 4 is we need to make sure that we're promoting our successes in Racine County. Like I said before, we do not do a good job at promoting Racine County and touting the great things we do. We're one of the most creative counties in the state of Wisconsin in doing out-of-the-box thinking with program delivery services. Whether it's the mental health clinic that we opened in December of 2011, or whether it's some of the great things that we've done at Ridgewood, now being a 5-star facility, we need to promote our successes.
Thank you. And the next question is a RAMAC question. Jonathan, we'll start with you. With resources becoming more limited, do you believe it is more important to find the opportunities to consolidate and collaborate with other local governments? And if so, give specific areas where you can see this occurring.
Sure. Well, first let me tout a few of my successes as a county employee and as the village president of Caledonia. Just recently we consolidated our public assistant programs with Kenosha County, so we're one region serving those individuals, and we're serving more of those individuals in a timely manner. They're getting the services that they're eligible for, whether it's Badger Care or child care, they're getting those services. As village president, we opened a joint fire station with Mount Pleasant on Highway K, something we're really proud of. I think it was the first of its kind. I think now the South Shore Fire Department has a joint station as well. And then we have a joint health department that when I was on the village board that we did as well. And that is a huge success because now the town of Raymond has just recently joined that health department as well as other western municipalities. So that's something that has really blossomed over the course of time on the success we've had. Some other things that I think we consolidate in the future, I think we have a great opportunity to do joint fire. I think that's very important. And then other services potentially consolidating or using the county's IT program to serve other municipalities. We do that in Caledonia. We're doing some human resource services for other municipalities so they can save money. We have the capacity to be able to serve those municipalities. So those are some of the services I think we can consolidate in the future.
Thank you. Dave?
Great question. I've also been, since I've been on the Raymond Town Board, I've been a liaison for our fire department. And over that, we work very close with Union Grove, Town of Norway, Caledonia, Yorkville, Yorkville and Grove be in the same department. And we share over the joint dispatch, but even before the joint dispatch was in effect, we shared equipment, and we're getting more into sharing more equipment. Instead of each community going and buying a tanker, one community buy a tanker or update a tanker, things haven't happened yet. And as far as like Jonathan said, the healthcare end of it that we did join with the county, we were kind of, and I'm not against, I'm not voting against the join for the county, but we were kind of tied by the state. The hospitals that were taking care of things kind of said, well, we don't want this liability anymore, and gave it down and pushed it on the Jim. Matter of fact, Jim and I had quite a few conversations over it, where the insurance hospitals had to quit, and it was a tough thing. It was a great thing that the county, that Jim did come up with, is we were all scattering at the time of where we were going to go. So that's one great thing that the county did. But you know what? For each municipality to start working together, instead of working against each other and making this a better county, is what's going to do the county in general. I just got flying.
Thank you. And the next question is a Rayman question, and we'll start with you, Dave. What would your priorities be in terms of budgeting? So, for example, if cuts have to be made, what is touchable and what is untouchable from your perspective?
From my perspective, I'll tell you what, we made some major, like I said before, we made some major budget cuts in the town of Racine. The one thing our employees all said is we did not go after it. And to me, I'm just like anybody else sitting here. Nobody wants to walk into work tomorrow and find out that they had to take a pay cut. Everybody hates it, no matter where you're at. But I believe there's a lot of other things to cut. Whether we got to turn the heat down, we got to turn on and look at street lights, we got to look at putting LED lights in everywhere, because we do know that they are a huge savings cost. You can turn around and save up to 60–70% just on stuff like that. I'd be looking at, too, in our DPW and equipment. How much money are we spending on our equipment? We've made these choices in the town of Raymond many a times that we're spending $2,000–3,000 a month to keep a piece of equipment going. Well, it's time to get a new one. And over the time, it's saved us a whole lot.
Thank you. Jonathan?
How I would prioritize budget cuts is simple. Is what is the exposure going to be to the taxpayer? We certainly cannot cut services that are going to expose the county to potential $1 million lawsuits. So a few things that I will not cut as county executive: child protective services, adult protective services to our vulnerable population. We just can't do it. I'm very committed to that. The other thing is, what we've done at Human Services is we've had to make a few cuts, but we've also been able to expand revenue. So, for example, we opened up a clinic, a behavioral health services clinic in December of 2011, which took mental health care off the county tax levy dollars. And not only is it zero, but we're actually increased revenue every year by more than 10%. How are we doing that? We're billing Medicaid, we're billing private insurances. So the other issue is at Ridgewood, that's no longer the day-to-day operations. The last few years are not on the county taxpayer. We've increased revenue through Medicare programs, through outpatient physical therapy. So I think the experience I have is to be able to raise revenue, to build up reserves in human services, like I mentioned, $5 million, so we can kind of offset those cuts. But again, if we have to cut county services, it's going to be prioritized by what is the exposure to the taxpayer, because what's not going to happen is you're not going to be on the hook for $1 million lawsuits because we couldn't keep our own house in order.
Okay, thank you. The next question is a Rayman question, and I'll start with you, Jonathan. What are some things local government can do to reduce the cynicism people have towards government?
Sure. I think transparency is very critical. One of the ideas I had as county executive is each year the county executive presents a budget to the county board. Well, my idea is after that is take that budget to the municipalities, go to their meetings, and how does the county budget affect that municipality? So go to Raymond, go to Waterford, go to the town of Waterford, town of Burlington, and present, this is the budget, this is what it means for you. So transparency transparency, working with municipalities. Number two, Judy, is that you have to be available and accessible. You know, the county executive has to be willing to attend events, has to be willing to answer the phone, and has to be really good at constituent services. There's a lot of issues that individual citizens have on a daily basis. We have to be able to communicate with them on a timely basis. As county executive, I pledge to do that with plenty of vigor.
Thank you. Dave? You bet. What are some things local government can do to reduce the cynicism people have towards government?
That, being in politics for 8 years, that's a question that I always say is as long as I can make 70% happy, I'm doing really good. No matter what, you get criticism from both sides, but at the end of the day, everybody comes down to saying, hey, yeah, that was a decent idea after we see it working. And I think that's what a lot of people have to learn is let's do things. When we do things, let's try them, especially when they're new. You don't know. So the people have to understand. But again, if it's not going right, be willing to put the impact in. And one thing, being county executive, it's not a 9-to-5 job, 5 days a week. It's 365, 24, all the time. And I mean, I've always done that in the town of Raymond. I shouldn't probably say this because a lot of you might get upset. They go, what, 4 years ago we got that major blizzard snowstorm? I happened to be in sunny Miami, Florida. But I had my phone started ringing at 4 o'clock Florida time in Aiken. So that was 3 o'clock. I have to get my equipment out to get it to Energies. I told them, I said, you got your front end loader running? I said, get your front end loader running. If there's a problem, I said, I'll get your lab on the phone and tell them, hey, I got a front end loader on the road to get it going down. I got a front end loader going down to the power plant because they have to get it empty, so the ash bin empty, so that power plant doesn't have to shut down. Guys, imagine not having power and not doing it. But while I'm sitting down in Florida, I'm getting a lot of equipment on the streets to open our streets up. Our streets in the town of Raymond were open before the town was. I got the yellow flag again.
It's okay, you have actually till the red one, so.
It's not your fault.
All right, and the next question, we'll start with you, Dave, is a Raymac question. Racine County is one of a handful of counties in the state that does not have a sales tax. Would you support a county-wide sales tax? Or not?
Great question. Would I support a county-wide sales tax? If taxes had to be raised and we were down to no limit, I would support a county-wide sales tax. I am very fond of sales tax, but it's to lower the tax on the real estate in turn. For the simple reason is if we can create a great tourism, we can create people that don't live within the county helping to pay for the county. This is done in many, many states. And it's done in other counties, especially bigger tourist towns. But we can't turn around and go overly crazy on it. It wouldn't be one of my first things that I'd run up to do. But if need be, that's where I would see a sales tax or a user. Sales tax or a user's tax to begin with. But the sales tax would not be something out of the question because it takes money from other states, countries, counties, and brings it to us, just like a lot of the other ones are doing. But you got to be able to turn around and save the residents of the county also.
Jonathan?
Could you repeat the question, Drew?
You bet. Racine County is one of a handful of counties in the state that doesn't have a sales tax. Would you support a countywide sales tax or not?
No.
Very concise. Thank you. The next question is a Raymac question, and we'll start with Jonathan. What role can the county play in helping to make sure our schools are producing career or college-ready students?
Great question, huge passion of mine. So one of the things that, well, first of all, we're doing a lot of things in Racine County. We're partnering with Unified, and we're in 3 public schools right now, 3 elementary schools, to ensure that we have students 3rd grade reading ready, 5th grade math ready, and then the 9th grade credit level that I previously mentioned. And we're looking at those students, and we're already starting to see the needle move. So very important step there. 2 is Burlington is already doing this, creating career tracks. I hope to spread that as county executive to other school districts. And career tracks are 4-year college tracks, 2-year or community college like Gateway right here, and then certification. As we know, not every student or child is going to go to a 4-year school. In fact, I have one of my own that is not going to 4-year college, and as a parent, you think, well, where did I fail? What did I do wrong? And he did not do anything wrong. It's just that they're not ready for a 4-year. He's more of a 2-year. What can you get out of a community college? A welder, a CNC operator, a nurse. So there are plenty of great things that to do at a 2-year school. So creating those career tracks, recognizing those students at an 8th or 9th grade level, getting them in the correct track, I think is important. And then finally is, what we have to do is, we have to make sure that we're maintaining and attracting local talent when they leave Racine County for college to come back. I think it's critical that we make sure that schools are doing well so that they come back as Racine County executive. I'll work with all the school districts.
Thank you. You bet. Dave, what role can the county play in helping to make sure our schools are producing career or college-ready students?
You know, it's a great question because it hit me last year. I had a son my youngest son, which I was curious of what was going to happen to me. One of my sons went to college. My one son did come here while he was in high school. And we never knew that this opportunity was available. My son went to high school. He went to Union Grove High School. But he was able to come here after school and pick up the welding credit. His heart was in welding. He right now is doing very well in being in his career for just 1 year now. He did graduate last January. And the programs are there, but the people don't know that they're there. And I think the schools, whether it's going to the administration and talking to them about it, get him into Gateway. Not everybody is college bound. I think another great thing is what Generac is doing out in Waukesha County. They're bringing kids that dropped out of school in, getting them their GED, but also getting them a job. And we've got to promote companies like that that want to take on that type of role, because not everybody's going to be a doctor, a lawyer. We need the working class. My other son, he just, 24 years old, he just went in for an apprenticeship for heating and cooling. So it comes back to the businesses will train. And we have to open that up to where the businesses can train. Start copying what places like Generac is doing out there, which I think is absolutely huge, when you can take a student that dropped out of school and they'll move on. Another thing I think that's got to be brought in the county, or the city here, is 4-H, because it produces our youth so great. I didn't get the red flag yet, so I'm okay. But you bring 4-H in organizations like that, that's a great thing.
Okay, thank you. And our last question is, we'll start with Dave, and this is a RAMAC question. What do you feel Racine County can do to attract new businesses and new jobs?
To attract new businesses and new jobs, I think the one thing is to make it easier for them to do. Make it more accessible. We have one of the greatest things here. We have a great transportation rail. We're not going to see, I'd be fooling myself to honestly sit here and say we're going to see new businesses building in downtown Racine. Because the transportation of their products, they do not want to have to drive all the way through Racine. the people down here in the city of Racine probably don't want to see the traffic coming in. Because one thing I've always heard in the town of Racine is, yeah, you fixed my road, and I argue with you to fix my road, but now the cars go faster. Yeah, that's part of it. But to attract businesses, we have a great stretch of I-94. Right there is just the locators to begin with. We've also got how many other main state highways going through? We got Arlington Way, we got Highway 83, we got Highway 36, we got Highway 20. These are great arteries to get into our county. We got the part of the Rock Freeway that just is off from our county. And these are easy ways. And that's what businesses are looking for. And we have to get out and advertise it. We have to get out and promote it and let them know that it's there. They already know it's there. You look up 94 down in Kenosha County and up in Milwaukee County, everything is moving forward.
Good job.
Great question, and I think it's a great one to end on. So I would do really 5 things. One, and I keep repeating myself, is the Racine County Ready Workforce. Again, businesses aren't going to come if we don't have individuals to be able to fill those jobs. Whether it's education, passing a drug test, or showing up to work after one day, we need to make sure that we have a Racine County Ready Workforce. We need to build a strong foundation in Racine to make sure that we're attracting local talent and local and existing talent to come back and start businesses. So that's working to make sure that we have solid school districts around Racine County, working to make sure that we have a good quality of life. 3, we need to make sure that we have the necessary infrastructure out to the freeway to be able to attract businesses, whether that's water or sewer or transportation methods. We need to make sure that that's in place. The county plays a big factor in that, and bringing municipalities together to do that. 4, as county executive, I'd like to take a look at the rec fees. I think they're just exorbitant right now for big boxes, big manufacturers that come into Racine County along the freeway. They pay a lot of money for water, and we need to be able to create a leverage situation so we at least have some type of choices so we can get the cheapest water rate for those businesses. And then 5, of course, is to continue to be a cheerleader for Racine County. Continue to brag about our county, our successes, brag about what we have to offer to businesses. I think that's very important.
Okay, thank you both. And now just to have our closing comments, and we will start with Jonathan on anything you'd like to close with.
Sure. Again, thanks for everybody for coming out and listening to us. I really appreciate it. And I also want to thank my opponent, Dave Likas. In a day and age with social media and whatnot, it's not easy to put yourself out there and run for office. So, whichever one of us win, I just want to thank him for being able to do that. I believe I have the skill set to be the county executive for the next 4 years. I believe I have the administrative experience, the educational experience, the political experience, and the leadership experience. I believe that all plays a role in being a successful Racine County executive. So I'm asking for your vote on April 7th. I would appreciate it. And I look forward, and I'd be honored to be your next county executive. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dave?
I'm very looking forward to being the next county executive. To me, it's a position that you have to have the right leadership. You have to be able to move forward. You have to be willing to make a sharp turn when things ain't going right. Being a business for myself, I've learned that when it comes down to the bottom line, if I make a major mistake, it comes out of my pocket. And you can't continue going down that road when it's costing you money. You make, as I always say, it's time to make a left turn. And you have to turn, and you have to move on and rebuild. But just because it wasn't working, your idea wasn't working, I always ask myself, why isn't it working? Because you may not have to change a lot, but you just got to move a little bit. And to be able to attract businesses, which is huge in my book, find great local businesses and entrepreneurs. I am very fond of entrepreneurs because, as I always said, everybody thinks you need a great college education and everything. Go ask Bill Gates. I believe he dropped out. Go ask Warren Buffett. Ask a lot of these people. They were great people without a college education or dropouts. They tried to go to college. But in closing with that, I want to thank John, Jim, you for coming here tonight. All those who left us too. This room was full. But I will appreciate your support on April 7th, and don't forget out and vote. Jonathan?